What is good, everybody? Gamer Critic back with the first why I'm buying of 2026 excitements. And the first game of 2026 that I'm legitimately excited to play is the sequel to what you might call the anime Souls-like Code Vein 2. So Code Vein 2 is an action RPG being developed by Bandai Namco. It releases on January 29th, 2026 for the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Now, when I first saw Code Vein 2, I think at Summer Game Fest, I thought what I was looking at looked really great. But I'm somebody that doesn't like to go into any sequel without having played at least a little bit of the first game, even if it's a standalone sequel like Code Vein 2 is clearly going to be. So I went back, played the first Code Vein, got it on a good holiday sale. I think I got it for like $9.99. And I'm playing it now. I'm like 17, 18 hours in, and I gotta be honest, I think it's perfectly fine. The anime Souls-like look of it is pretty cool. And again, I will say this, the character customizer in that game is dynamite. But I'm not really loving the gameplay or the exploration. And like I said before, in any Souls-like game, that is a must. I don't think your Souls-like game is gonna be good if you can't do those two things. Those make a Souls-like game. But with that said, I'm still happy I'm playing Code Vein right now, because what Code Vein is exceeding at doing is getting me more excited for Code Vein 2. Because looking at the improvements made in Code Vein 2, even with my little bit amount of time in the first Code Vein, these are almost night and day improvements. These are pretty damn significant. Normally I talk about the story, but the story's not really the reason why I'm coming here. I don't really come to Souls-likes for their story, and Code Vein 2's story hasn't really grabbed me yet. All I need to know is that we're the main protagonists. We're paired with a girl with thick thighs called Lou who can time travel, and we need to save the world from destruction. And to do that, we are going to be using time travel. I will admit, time travel sounds really interesting in this game. But the main story itself is not the reason why I'm really here. For me personally, it is the two big things, like I said before, I come to a Souls-like for: the combat and the exploration. And it seems like Code Vein 2 is nailing those, especially when compared to the first game. Like I said, those big improvements. Like, for starters, the world itself and how it looks. While I do enjoy the anime look of the first game, you'll notice that there's not a lot of variety in its environment, at least from what I've seen. And that's something where Code Vein 2 already is taking a really drastic change. The game, while still keeping that dark post-apocalyptic look, is really looking to add way more environmental variety. Not only do these environments look significantly better, but they also just look way more inviting, way more colorful. And since this game is going to be significantly more open when compared to the first Code Vein, there is going to be way more shortcuts, more boss arenas, more stuff to find, more routes to unlock. I love it when my Souls-like games are not quite open world. Like, I don't always need like a massive open world map to explore, especially in a Souls-like game. But open zone, where like it's still a structured area, but you have just a little more freedom than your traditional Souls-like, that is still really great. There's clearly going to be a lot of stuff to find and routes to unlock, and everything I've seen so far just makes it seem like Code Vein 2 is going to nail this. And it's clearly big enough to where you need a motorcycle to explore it, so it's not going to be tiny by any means. But while I think the world and exploration in Code Vein 2 is clearly making a big upgrade, I still think the best improvements here is gonna be in your combat and your summons. You can just look at combat in Code Vein 2 and just tell it looks faster, which was my biggest issue with the first game. And that's what Code Vein 2 is providing. It's faster, smoother, and just way more responsive. Seem to blend better. It's not as stiff. At the end of the day, the combat in Code Vein 2, it looks like it's truly built around that aggression and mobility. The weapons themselves also see a big improvement. I really don't like how in Code Vein all the weapons seem to have like the same type of animations and attacks, but not in Code Vein 2. Every weapon here looks like it feels and handles differently. From the great swords that are a little slower but offer massive reach, to what are going to be my go-to weapons, dual blades, the new extremely fast weapons that are great for combo heavy attacks. I prefer speed over power always, so I will be going with the dual blades. But then you got your rifles, your one-handed swords, your spears, your elemental blades, etc. And when you combine the overall faster combat and the larger array of weapons with this forme system that they have, giving each weapon its weapon-specific abilities that can range from combat forme that allow for more melee focus, magic forme that allow for more elemental and ranged abilities, or support forme that is meant for defense, utility, healing. All of that can really go a ways in giving your playstyle just that little more customization, which for any Souls-like is great. It is good to have the option to go in and decide how I want to play. And it's not that the first Code Vein doesn't have something similar to that, it's the fact that Code Vein 2 is just adding more of it. But far and away, easily the part of Code Vein 1 that is still not something I see many Souls-likes do is its companionship system. And while I like what they're doing with the partners in Code Vein 1, they're clearly taking things a step up in Code Vein 2. For starters, it feels like they're actually connected to the story. And this is what I mean. I'm not very interested in the main story itself. What I am interested is the backstory and side stories for these characters. There are so many characters here that seem to have some really interesting things going on, and I kind of want to see what they're going to do with that. But outside of story, it is the gameplay and combat where these guys see a big improvement. Because in the first game, all they could do is fight by your side, which I'm not complaining about. That was very handy. But now in Code Vein 2, it looks like you have two options. You have the traditional partner style from the first game, right? Where the partner will physically fight by your side. They will attack the enemy. They will use their own abilities and weapons, like Holly and her long pole arm, or Mateo and his great sword, or Lou Magmel and her giant thunder thighs. I'm joking, of course. But really, look at those things. Those things might as well be certified weapons, because goddamn, but I digress. The point is, that is one option. They can fight by your side with different weapons and abilities. But the other option is they can actually assimilate. They can fuse into you, granting you stat boosts, passive abilities, resistance, and special perks. It's essentially like a big power-up move. And while there are some limits to how often you can summon and assimilate, most of the time you can really do it whenever you feel like it. And that is really gonna add some different layers to how you play. Maybe if there's a bunch of enemies on screen, you'll probably appreciate the second companion to fight by your side. But if you're fighting a big, massive boss, it might be easier to get that extra damage and have them assimilate. Just to have that option alone. Very handy. All that rambling to say, between the much bigger, more colorful world, the improved companionship that is not only going to improve on just how helpful they are in combat, but just also on their story front, and the combat just being faster, smoother, and offering way more options. Code Vein 2, at least from the outside looking in, it looks like this is going to be a good improvement, a pretty great improvement actually. And outside of looking just like a better Code Vein, it just looks like a good Souls-like, offering fun and smooth combat and a big pretty world to explore. And in my Souls-like games, that is literally all I can ask for. Now, like I always say, you never know. The game could launch and it could end up being a disaster. We just have to wait and see. But from the outside looking in, it looks like Code Vein 2 is delivering the Souls-like goods. And no, not just because of massive thunder thighs, but because it looks like it's going to be a genuine and worthwhile improvement over the first game. And if they manage to do that, then I think we could be looking at the first real great game of 2026. But we have to wait and see, and thankfully we don't have to wait too much longer when this game launches on January 29th. And that's why I'm buying Code Vein 2. Thank you guys so much for watching. Genuinely interested in this one. Excited to give it a shot. As for my next video, I'm honestly not sure. I need to look at my notes and see. There's definitely a video I'm entertaining and working on, but that one's not coming anytime soon. But as per usual, I'll keep you guys posted. Right now, my next video is question mark. I'll let you guys know. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe. It helps a ton. If you want to stay up to date with what I'm doing, you can follow me on Instagram. That's @thegamercritic. Be good people, and I will talk to all of you very soon. All right, peace.